I'm very happy to do this interview with you, Paul, because you are a true legend of trance and electronic music. Welcome on m2o.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Topic was born in 1992. What were you doing back then?
I think I probably tried to start my career as a DJ back then and been a big fan and went to all the clubs in Berlin at the time.
How did you come up with the idea of 2022 remake of your iconic Foreign Angel?
Well, actually, Topic came to me. It's like he said, he has like this idea. He wanted to kind of like produce something, and he really loved For an Angel, and he wanted to include it in his track In Your Arms. And I said, well, it's all down to the music. So that's what he did.
Weren't you a little bit jealous of this?
No, I think it's an honor if somebody, who's an established musician as well from a different generation thinks that something that I composed in already 94 is still so valuable and still holds so many important keys to it that he wants to include it of one of his original pieces. I think it's an honor as an artist.
I remember the first video of the song showed up the world, the epic images of the Love Parade. And the track's cover art, the one with the Berlin Victory column, became one of the club culture symbol. Do you think another Love Parade can really happen?
I don't know. I think the world has changed drastically. It's like, there's much more of a festival culture now. It's much more of people kind of like, go out for a week. They go camping and they spend the time there. And it's very different to the parade culture back then, which obviously was in the middle of the city, in comparison to festivals being out in the field, and you can, I don't know, just like run around wild if you want to.
Do you still live in Berlin?
Yes.
And do you go out in techno clubs or something?
Well, it's like obviously before the pandemic, we frequently kind of like went to all the places to see what's going on and kind of feel the vibe of the city. Now, obviously, things are somewhat different, and we really hope it's going to restart again. And then, I will hopefully sort of see everyone again that I used to see.
I know that you have a lot of dates booked in the next weeks. Are you happy about that? Yes, of course.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, to me, it's like, for my art, for my music, for what I do, it's like my biggest inspiration is life in itself. So whatever I see. So the more I travel, the more shows I play, the more influences I have, and the more exciting it gets for me as an artist. And so, yes, I'm definitely absolutely happy about the shows and that the calendar looks busy and that things get back to normal. And I just hope that sort of like, let's say the continental element of Europe will catch on with opening up and making life and therefore clubbing and enjoying social life with each other, that it's going to be possible again soon.
How many old classics are you playing in your sets nowadays?
Not too many.
Okay.
To me, yes, I'm doing this for a very long time, but that doesn't mean that I'm stuck back in the loop. It's like the music that I'm making now is music that I make the music now in a way how I think it should sound in 2022 and 2023, and not how it was sounding back then. Of course, I have my influences. Many people say you immediately hear a Paul Van Dyk production, but that's me as an artist. That's me who I am. So it's like, I like that driving element in music. I like, the emotional side of things, and you find all that in my music.
You were one of the first 5 artists to get a Grammy nomination for Best Dance Electronic Album, I remember in 2005 with Reflection. Maybe this time you can get a Grammy again with this track.
Well, I don't know. The thing is, it's like getting an award and, these sort of things. It's like, it is an honor, but that's not why I'm doing what I'm doing. I mean, you mentioned like back in like 91, 92, there was no such thing. Like nobody thought much of the DJ. The DJ was the freak in the corner while everyone else had fun. It wasn't about being on big stages or anything. And I kept that very pure connection with the music. You know, even if nobody would listen to my music, I would still make music because that's almost like an additional language I speak to the world. It's like it's important to me from an artistical point of view.
Do you remember your first night out of the East Berlin?
Yes, I actually do. I was listening to the radio all the time and there were specialized shows. And so I was in East Berlin, and just a few hundred meters away on the other side of the Berlin Wall, there was a club called UFO. That was the coolest club ever in Berlin. And I could never go because there was the Berlin Wall. So when the wall went down, I went to this club. And first I was like, where am I going? Because we were going to some sort of like, I don't know, some back door, and then you had to go down into a basement. You had to climb through a hole. Somebody just broke in the wall. And there it was, kind of like a PA, a few cases where they sort of like gave away beer and music. And it was the coolest electronic music you can possibly imagine. So yeah, I definitely remember that. Very inspiring indeed.
Are you in for a back-to-back interview with Topic?
Of course.
Let's start. Question number 1. Which was the first vinyl you bought?
Actually, my grandma smuggled it into East Germany, and it was by OMD, and it was called Organization.
I never bought a vinyl actually in my life. I'm also too young for that. But the first CD that I bought was from Eminem Without Me.
Where did you play as a DJ for the first time?
It was in March '91 at the infamous Tresor Club in Berlin.
Played the first time in a club close to my hometown in Germany.
What's your favorite track from the last year?
It's by Chris Element and it's called Life Again.
Maybe Love Tonight.
Out.
Yeah.
What's the artist that influenced you the most during your career?
It's not necessarily an artist throughout my career. I would say throughout my whole life, in terms of giving me hope, giving me inspiration, as well as later on when I became an artist myself. You know, kind of like from their approach, even though my music is very different, but Depeche Mode has always been a very essential element of my life. You know, when I was a kid in East Berlin, they inspired me never to give up. And also in terms of, you know, their artistical approach, they always developed themselves into a certain way, into a different sort of path, but still staying very original to themselves. And I think this is something absolutely amazing.
Swedish House Mafia?
Who's the first person that believed in you?
My mom.
My parents.
When did you realize that being a DJ was a serious thing and not a joke?
Well, I never took it as a joke. It's like, you know, to me, electronic music was like always very, very important, and having an own idea how it should sound obviously created the wish in myself to become a DJ and bring across what I think electronic music should sound like. So from the beginning, I was very serious about it.
When I released my first song in 2014 and it got like 250,000 clicks after only a few days, and it's got sold on iTunes and went into the charts.
As a DJ, what would you steal from Topic's generation?
I don't know. It's like the thing is, I don't really kind of like separate things in like generations or things like this. To me, electronic music in itself is kind of like is a rite, and it goes on for like more than 30, 40 years now. And right now we are at this point in time, and you know, that's what it is. It's like, you know, I don't think I would, I don't know, I'm not jealous of anything or would steal anything of that generation. I think we all had our points. Maybe one thing, we had to fight to listen to our music. We had to fight for the music. We had to actually create and make the music we wanted to listen to. Now electronic music is everywhere. That's definitely a difference.
Maybe also the technology.
Of course, the technology plays a big part. I remember my first studio looked like a spider where kind of cables were going through the room trying to connect all sorts of things with each other. And now, you know, you pretty much have a very clean, nice, neat looking setup with computers and a few synthesizers and touch screens and all that kind of stuff. It's definitely different.
As a DJ and producer, what would you steal from Paul Van Dyk generation?
Still like being the first at so many things and being pioneer. And I heard those stories in the 80s, 90s when they went to America and started the whole DJ thing there. And that I would love to see that be the first at everything. Yeah.
We are here to speak about your remake of one of the trance classic, For an Angel by Paul Van Dyk. And I was thinking about the fact that when For an Angel blew up, you were only 6 years old. Do you remember the first time you listened to the song?
I can't remember like the first time specifically, because I was probably like 6, 7 and didn't even know the name of the song. But I would guess that it was in the car of my parents or on a CD player at home, because my parents always bought those compilation CDs back then, and I always listened to these CDs.
What does this song mean for you? I mean, you have done this great rework, so maybe you have a special feeling on this track.
Yeah, I mean, this is a song that is there since I know music in a way, and it's a total dance classic and a song that also helped like the whole dance scene to go more popular and go on radio and everything. And it's definitely an honor then to put that melody in a new song of mine.
Did you used to go to Love Parade, or you are too young for that?
No, I didn't go. I'm too young, unfortunately.
No, unfortunately. It's a good thing to be young. You have already worked on the 90-hit song 9 p.m. Till I Can with ATB. Why do you feel this special connection with music from the 90s?
Maybe because I'm born in 1992, and those songs I always listened when I was like growing up, without even knowing that those are the songs of ATB, Paul Van Dyk, or anyone else. And it just maybe subconsciously a thing that I'm so connected to it, because it brings back childhood memories or something. I don't know. But also, the melodies are just great of these songs. And I think even in 50 years, if someone would listen to it, they would still say like, those melodies are just great. And melodies always what's the most important thing for me.
Is this the music that you used to play in your young age when you DJ?
I actually started DJing very late in my life. I started DJing with 22, and I never DJed when I was young, but I always listened to a lot of music, and I always listened to dance music and hip-hop music. So yeah, those songs were also, I was listening to it when I was young.
Are you ready for Tomorrowland?
Yes, I'm so ready, really.
The main stage is huge. You ready?
Yeah, I've been there in 2015 as
in the
as a
crowd.
guest. Huh? Sorry?
In the crowd as a guest.
Yeah, in the crowd as
Oh,
a guest.
wow.
Yeah, and it's so crazy. I would never believe that one day I would play the main stage, and it's insane.
Paul Van Dyk was one of the first artists to get a Grammy nomination in the Best Electronic Dance Album category in 2005. Do you think this song could get nomination too?
I hope. We'll see. You never know.
We have to send a message to your label.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I can only say after the past 2.5 years, I don't know what's gonna happen, because everything that's happened the last years was so crazy, and I could never have imagined that. So who knows?
Are you in for a back-to-back interview with Paul now?
Yeah, sure.
What's your relationship with the radio? Coming from East Berlin, I thought that it was the only way to find your music.
Well, as you said, like to me, radio is really important because it was my connection to the outside world. Since I grew up in a communistic dictatorship, there was no thing as freedom. So therefore, that was my ability to be part of the world. And I kept that love for radio. And, you know, since the early days, I'm doing a radio show, and we're hitting number 800 very soon of the Vonic Sessions, which is my show that goes out worldwide. And it's very important to me.
How can I say? Yeah, it's a good relationship. I'm very happy that so many radios in the world support my songs and help also to spread it around to people, and that people listen to my music then.
How can music have a social purpose other than entertainment, in your opinion?
Well, I don't think that music in itself, but obviously the ability as an artist that you have to you have a voice, you can raise a voice for like causes that are dear and important to you. And some artists do it and some others don't.
For me, music is so much more emotional. It brings a lot of more emotions to entertainment. I mean, even in movies, if you think about like emotional movie scenes, if there wouldn't be music, I don't think that it would be as emotional as it is with music. So I think that is something that only music can really transfer.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's totally fine. It's like, you know, I'm really looking forward to come back very soon and have fun with everyone in Italy.